Hello, everyone. So today you guys are going to work on one of my hilarious puzzle sheets that I know you guys you love them, especially Grady. Grady loves my jokes. No, they're like perfect dad jokes. So anyway, let's look at graphing this parabola. And then we'll talk about the paper you need to do. So the first thing we're going to do is when we find our x-intercepts, that means we're going to set our equation equal to 0. So then we're going to come down here. We're going to think of two numbers that multiply to give us positive 15 and add to give us negative 8. So what would that be, you guys? Negative 5 and negative 3, right? Because negative 5 times negative 3 is positive 15, but negative 5 plus negative 3 is negative 8. So since we are setting this equation equal to 0, we're going to set both sets of parentheses equal to 0, and then we're going to solve for x. So we're going to add 5 to both sides. We're going to add 3 to both sides. And so that means that x can equal both. Whoops, I meant to say 3. 3 and 5. So our x-intercepts are 3, y equals 0, and 5 when y equals 0. Okie dokie. All right, so now we're going to find our vertex. So first of all, is this a parabola that opens up or parabola that opens down? So hopefully you know it opens up because our leading coefficient is positive. So to find the vertex, we're always using negative b over 2a. That's the x value of our vertex. And then we plug in to find our y value. So our a is 1. Our b is negative 8. Well, you see later on in the next unit. So finding the vertex, we're going to do the opposite of negative 8. The opposite of b, the opposite of negative 8 is positive 8 over 2 times a. So that means our x value of our vertex is 4, which this is also our minimum because it's a parabola that opens up. And now we want to figure out, well, what is our y value? So we're going to plug in 4 squared minus 8 times 4 plus 15. So 4 squared is 16 minus 32 is negative 16, and negative 16 plus 15 is negative 1. I think this was on yesterday's video, the same problem. It seems really familiar. All right, so anyway, now let's think about if we had a little t-chart. What do we already know? We know that when x is 3, y is 0. We know that when x is 4, y is negative 1. And we know when x is 5, y is 0. So it says find 2 other points besides those. So what comes between 3 and 4? We're going to do 3.5 and we're going to do 4.5. And since parabolas are symmetrical, these should be the same y value. So first of all, let's go ahead and graph 3, 0, 5, 0, 4, negative 1. So we're talking about 3.5 and 4.5, right? So really close. So you know what? Why don't we use 6 and 2? I think we're going to use 6 and 2 because obviously these are going to be really small right here if we use 3.5 and 5.5. So let's use what's on the other side of our x-intercepts. So let's use 6 and 2. So if x is 2, we're going to do 2 squared minus 8 times 2 plus 15. So 2 squared is 4 minus 16 plus 15. So that would be what? Negative 12 plus 15. So when x is 2, y is 3. So I bet it's true with 6 as well. So let's plug in 6 for x. So we're going to do 6 squared minus 8 times 6 plus 15. So 6 squared is 36 minus 48 plus 15. So I know that 36 plus 15 is 51, right? And 51 minus 48 is 3. So when x is 6, y is also 3. So we're going to do 2, 3, and 6, 3. So this is our parabola. Okay. All right, so our vertex is right here. So what would be our line of symmetry? It always goes right through the vertex, and you write a vertical line in equation form, x equals, and that x value was 4. So this is the line of symmetry right there. Okay, so that's a good reminder. So basically you guys are going to be doing all that today. You're going to find the vertex of the graph. You're going to write its coordinates in the outline cell. So here is where our vertex goes. And then you're going to find points on both sides of the vertex. So let's start with our vertex. We're going to do negative b over 2a. Plug that in and we'll figure out what our y value is. So for number 1, our a is 1, our b is negative 4. So here's our b, here's our a. So we're going to do the opposite of negative 4. The opposite of negative 4 is positive 4 over 2a, and a is 1. So 4 over 2 is 2. So our x value is 2. And then when we plug in 2 to our equation, we're going to get 2 squared minus 4 times 2 plus 1. So 2 squared is 4 minus 8 plus 1. 4 minus 8 is negative 4. And negative 4 plus 1 is negative 3. There's our vertex. 1, 2, 1, 2, 3. So we're going to do both sides of our vertex. So what comes before 2, I'd say 1. What comes after? What comes before 1? 0, 4. And then negative 1, 5. So you guys are going to plug in all of these values into this equation for x, figure out what y is, and for every one of these, you'll either get a parabola opening up, or if the leading coefficient is negative, you're going to get a parabola that opens down. Okay, so if you get a picture besides a happy parabola or a sad parabola, you've done something wrong. So you need to check your values. You need to use your calculator. Okay. So hopefully you guys did several of these last week. So I think this is enough instruction for you. But let's look at number 7. Suppose you have 20 meters of fence to go around a rectangular garden. The width and length of the garden are represented in the picture. So the width is W and the length is 10 minus W. The area of the garden is given by the formula. We would multiply W times 10 minus W. We distribute the W and we would get this. Okay. Complete the table and graph to show how area depends on width. All right, so it says, what if the width is 1? What would the area be? So basically the area is what if the width is 1? Well, 10 times 1 is 10, and 10 minus 1 squared. 1 squared is 1. So the area would be 9. Okay. So we're going to plug that in here, and then we're going to graph 1, 9. About right there. Okay. What if the width is 2? What would the area be if the width is 2? So we're going to have 10 times 2 minus 2 squared. Well, 10 times 2 is 20. 20 minus 4 is 16. So when the width is 2, the area is 16. So 2, 16. Graphing that about right there. Okay. So you guys are going to finish this and see how the area depends on the width. Okay. So that's all you're doing. You're just simply plugging each of these values into this equation. You're filling out your t-chart and you are graphing it. All right, guys? Okay, well, everybody do your best. If you need my help, please reach out to me and I will help you as much as I can. Everybody have a great day. I will see you guys later.